Once upon a time we remember the Crusades, but the Crusades that we remember the most are those against Islam, a Christian army gathering all across Europe to march towards the Holy Land to reclaim the land of Jesus Christ. However, not all Crusades were made to face Islam advance, but also to destroy groups more close to the core of Christianity. We are speaking about the Catars, which were native to Europe and were deeply settled among Catholics quite peacefully until they did not. We are currently in medieval Europe, and pretty much all of Western Europe is under the Catholic Christian faith, apart from the southern part of the Iberian Peninsula, which was under Islamic rule, slowly being pushed back by Christian kingdoms of Iberia, and a small portion of land in France in the county of Toulouse, which was filled with Catars, which were not very attractive to the eyes of the Catholics, for there were differences among these two branches of Christianity. The name Cathar comes from the Greek pure. They originated from an anti-materialist reform movement within the Bogomil churches of the Balkans, calling for what they saw as a return to the Christian message of perfection, poverty, and preaching, combined with a rejection of the physical. In their mindset, the Catholic clergy was not loyal to the true meaning of Christianity. They had different views on the incarnation of Christ and Catholic sacraments, which led to accusations of Gnosticism. The most radical Catars gathered in the small town of Albi, which resulted in calling these peoples Albigensians, gaining the name for the Crusade later on. Growing tired of this insolence from the Catars, Pope Innocent III initiated a crusade in the area to destroy this cult, which in his mind were creating lies and division in Catholic faith, and making people doubt of his word as the representative of God on earth. Therefore, in 1209, a crusader army gathered in Lyon with soldiers coming from places like England and Austria, to aid the cause of a strong Catholic faith above all else. With the army size reaching over 10,000 men, they were ready to march south to meet the Catars. They arrive in a small fortified town of Béziers and settle in for a siege, but the Crusader army were not there to destroy the city, as among the townsfolk were Catars and Catholics alike. So they sent a letter to the city offering the sparing of the city, only if all Catars were handed over. The Catars were much less in numbers compared to the Catholics. Seemed easy enough to solve this. But the Catars were very important and held major positions within the city, so it was not possible before this proposal was refused by the city. The Crusader army was enraged with this and decided to destroy the town, but still didn't want to kill Catholics and asked one of the leaders to distinguish Catars from Catholics, and he replied, "Kill them all, God will know his own." They scale the walls rather quickly, without much resistance, and massacre the town. It is estimated that over 20,000 people died, and then Béziers was burned to the ground. The next target is Carcassonne, a city known to be haven to many Catars. This town was very well fortified but overflooding with refugees. This siege did not last long because the Crusader army stopped the water supply into the city, and with so many refugees inside the town, there was not enough food and water for everyone. And since all it was required of the city was to hand over the Catars among them, the townsfolk decided to surrender after a week. As a result to this surrender, the city was spared, but the Catars were forced to leave without nothing but their skin. This does not stop here, as there are many more cities that are haven to Catars, and the Crusader army paid a visit to each one of them. They would try to seize Les Tours, but this time they were not so successful, as the town repulsed the attack, and with winter approaching, they had to halt the siege. But when spring came, and with it a new fresh Crusader army that captured the town, then they went to Minerve, which he had to bombard because of geography of the town, which surrendered after a few days. Once inside the town, they let the Catholics go unharmed, but they offered the Catars prefects a chance to convert to Catholicism, which only 3 women accepted. The remaining 140 that refused were burned at the stake. The Catars attempt to react, but they know they have no capacity to destroy the Crusader army, so they sent a letter to someone who might help them, King Peter II of Aragon. He was crowned by the very same Pope Innocent III that initiated this crusade, and he fought the Moors in Spain and served in the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa, a king with battle experience. Peter of Aragon felt empathy towards the Catars and decided to help by sending a letter to the Pope asking for a stop to the crusade. He was able to use his prestige from his victories against the Moors and was able to convince the Pope that Islam posed a major threat and has to be halted both in the Middle East and in Iberia. And the Catars had been punished for long enough, and besides their different points of views also believed in Christianity, and that this Crusader army was much more useful against the Moors and Saracens than against fellow Christians. Pope Innocent III understood that there were bigger problems to be reckoned with, and decided to halt the crusade for the time being, as the Crusaders were indeed more needed in the Holy Land or in the Iberian Peninsula, where Islam attempts to penetrate each and every year. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below for more content like this. Stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next video.